And we are back. It is Wednesday, January 10th, and welcome to an all new episode of Style by Stevie. Now, our very special guest today is a model, actor. He is the ultimate hyphenate, and he has so many hats. And I'm super excited to welcome him here in the dollhouse. So, without further ado, fashion dolls, let's welcome our very special guest, Darius R. Booker. Oh,
Hello, Miss Stevie. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. It is such a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the
Thank you,
dollhouse.
thank you. It is an honor. Sorry, I was having technical difficulties earlier, but I'm glad we got connected.
Yes, it is a pleasure to have you here. So before we kick off this interview, we are now in 2024.
Yes.
How, how did you ring in the new year? How did you celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving?
Yes. So, oh man, I mean, with family, right? There's no other way to do it. I think, one of the most important things for me is connecting with the people that I missed out on because of COVID. So
Yeah.
just trying to reconnect to some of those best friends and family members. And not everybody was able to, get together for the holidays, but the people that I did get together with, like, we made the most of it, had way too much fun and wish it was continuing, and ate some really good food. So, and my birthday is on Christmas Eve, so I got a chance to celebrate that. Yeah, so I was really happy. Turned 33.
All right.
Oh,
Club 30.
yeah, yeah. So that's how I spent it. What about you?
How did I spend my Christmas? Well, my mom decided to cook a Christmas dinner. My brother and his girlfriend went out of town
Okay,
with the baby. They went to go to her family, to her relatives in Florida to visit her
okay.
uncle. Me and my mom stayed back and we cooked Christmas dinner and we had to open our gifts and everything and deliver food to my grandmother and my family members. So it was a whole lot that we had to do. And then we had to make sure that the food didn't go bad, but we have nothing left. So again, I was in charge of the macaroni and cheese this year, and
Okay.
I'm very, very proud of it.
Okay. You threw down. Nice.
Yes. Now, New Year's, how did you ring in your New Year's? Because I stayed in, it was so cold.
Mhm.
Everybody went out to go see the ball drop if they were in the New York region and New York area. How did you ring in 2024?
Yeah. So, oh man, bringing in the new year 2024. I think everybody has like their New Year's resolutions and their vision board kind of
Yeah.
posted up, right, of what they want to do. I did something a little different. I used to do that annually, but this time I got together with a very special friend of mine, and she is my best friend, my girlfriend, and my confidant, my spiritual partner. And we got together and we were like, you know what? Let's just kind of manifest what we want for 2024 and also release everything from 2023. And a couple of my students who I taught when I was a professor at the University of Texas Arlington, they contacted me and they kind of did something similar. And so we all just kind of got together and we said, you know what? All the challenges, all the trials, all the tribulations, all the obstacles. Let's go ahead and talk about it, infuse energy into it, and then release it into the atmosphere. So that's how I ushered in 2024. And I got to say, I know we're only like, what, 2 weeks in, but I have been optimistic consistently every day. So hopefully I don't lose that.
Now, let's get into you, your story, your journey.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about where you grew up and your journey to the artist and your artistry and your work that you're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born in a place called Long Branch, New Jersey. And my family, my mom was in the military, so we moved to Germany immediately, almost right after. And then from Germany, we moved to a place called Hinesville, Georgia, which is about 45 miles or 45 minutes south of
Yeah.
Savannah, Georgia. Um, I grew up there till I was 18 years old. It was a small southern town. I wanted to make sure to not have the southern drawl accent. Nothing wrong with it though. And then I got accepted to Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia, where I went for my bachelor's of arts in theater. And I didn't graduate there. I transferred to Clayton State University, where I finished out, got my undergrad degree. Then participated in a statewide theater acting competition, where I got picked up from California Institute of the Arts, also known as CalArts. Funny fact, Don Cheadle went to CalArts and he spoke at my graduation. So I got picked up there, and then completed my master's degree program for acting with a concentration in theater management out there in California. And then I'm here in Dallas, Texas now, with my family. And this is where I started my company and just making plans and really anchoring here. So that's the journey thus far.
Now, what is it like making the shift all the way from New Jersey to now Dallas, Texas? What was that journey like for you making that shift and that change?
Ooh, I mean, challenging doesn't even encompass the entire journey, right? Uh, I I gotta say was it was lonely at times because even though we have our family members who support us, and I've always had my mom. She's always been there for me. She was a single mom for a long time, raising me to make sure I turned out the way that I did. We're often working like 3 jobs just to make sure we got by. And yeah, so I don't know, I always had friends, but I was always kind of contained in spaces where I constantly had to prove that I could show up and be present and act. And I mean, it doesn't matter if it was from, Los Angeles, trying to audition for projects out there, all the way to Dallas when I got here, and I still had to audition for a lot of projects. And it just seemed like I always had to remind some directors and producers that I know how to act. And so every day, even if I got booked for projects or even if I was collaborating with a group of artists, I had to show up and say, "Oh yeah, hey guys, like I'm trained. I can do a multitude of things." So I've had a lot of trials and tribulations along the way on that journey specifically, but a lot of mentors who helped me, who steered me in the right direction too. So I'm very grateful for them. My success is attributed to those who I stand on the shoulders of, who've helped me come along the way.
Now, making that transition from New Jersey to Dallas, what was it like? Because I know it's difficult being in the entertainment business away from your family and following your dreams. It can be difficult because the ones that you love, you're leaving behind and now going off on your own. What was that like for you? Because, like you said, it was a little bit lonely.
Yeah. So what's funny is because I was born in New Jersey, but I didn't stay there long, I had the chance to return back to New Jersey, like, for I'd say about 2 times throughout the years of 2015 to 2017. And I wanted to connect with that market because I didn't know what that market was at all. I started off in New York City trying to learn the market there, the theater circuit, auditioned for Broadway a couple of times, didn't get it, but met a lot of powerful networks. And I say that the word lonely comes to mind because as actors and as artists, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people can resonate with this, the grind that you put in to audition for projects behind closed doors does not always show up when you get to the stage or when you get in front of the camera, right? The preparation is so much longer than the actual moment that takes place. So there was a lot of times where I walked in a room and I'm showing my southern charm, my personality. I'm like, "Hey, my name's Darius, our Booker. How you doing?" Sort of like a Les Brown spin on it. And there were a lot of times where I got the quick, "Oh, that's great. There's the door. Nice to meet you. There's the door." And I didn't even get the opportunity to necessarily show my best foot forward or audition. There's a scene that I just saw again out of La La Land where Emma Stone's character is auditioning in front of a casting director, and she pours her heart out, man. And the casting director is just interrupting her, getting a coffee, checking the phone, listening to the voicemail. And Emma's like, "Do you want me to continue?" And she's like, "No, that's okay. You can go on." So it was a lot of that. It was a lot of that. And it still is to this day. I think Viola Davis said it best. She said, I think somebody asked her, "You're Viola Davis, the Viola Davis. You've made it. How does it feel?" And she said, "What do you mean? It's still a fight. It's still a challenge to get into the spaces, to do my work, to do what I love." Um, so it was a lot of that. But New Jersey market and New York market cutthroat versus like Dallas, Texas. And so is LA. LA is very cutthroat too. So New Jersey kind of prepared me while I was trying to act in that circuit for Dallas, because Dallas is a lot more open. So I
Yeah.
came with a certain type of, like, militant mindset when I got into the business and the industry over here. And I started booking more. I booked more in Dallas than I did in, like, New Jersey, New York City, Los Angeles. So very, very happy for that transition and that journey.
With you being told no, how do you handle no? And what advice would you give to people on handling
Mhm.
rejection in this business that they go to casting calls and they're auditioning for a role and someone might tell them no, you're pouring your heart out, like you said, you mentioned Emma Stone in that film, and she's doing this and the director is just not interested. What advice, how do you handle no, and what advice would you give to someone on handling no?
Ooh, that's the secret question, right? You have to first build sort of like a mental fortitude for yourself. That, I know it's going to sound pretty much like cereal box or just a little cheesy for some, but you really have to be anchored in who you are, because I think we as actors and artists, one of the pitfalls that I fell into was that people's acceptance of me quickly became like my reality. And I think that that definition is called dogma. You live with the results of other people's thinking. And so I was listening to the acceptance and the feedback, or the rejection, and I was quickly allowing the rejection to define my personality and my identity. And that got dangerous. And so then, as I continued along in my journey, I quickly kept reminding myself of who I am. People's yes or no does not determine your trajectory as an actor. I know it sounds far-fetched for some people, because you're like, well, how do you really determine how to get successful or get those roles if you're constantly getting no at the door? And it's a continued fight. It is a continued struggle. And anything that's good in life takes work. I just kept showing up. I kept hearing the no's and letting it go in through one ear. And sometimes some of the no's do hit harder than others, especially for those roles that you want. But you just really have to do your best to shake it off, lean into your village, those that support you and love you. Surround yourself with people that believe in you. If you don't have that many people or that many support folks in your circle, it's going to be a hard, tough road, because self-motivation only goes so long before you hit your limit or break down and you question everything about what you're doing. Um, so you have to allow the nose to bounce off and create that tough skin. And then just do and pick projects that you believe in, that make you motivated and make you happy. Don't do something just because it's got a dollar sign attached to it if you're going to lose your soul, right? If you're going to lose your dignity. You may think you're getting to the next step, but if it makes you question your foundation of where you've gone, that's not the road to take. That's not it. So do what makes you happy, pick what makes you motivated, and keep going. Keep going. And rest.
Ab-
Yeah, rest on the days you need it.
yeah. Yes. And that's another thing. As we get in this business, we're always on the go. We're always in high demand, performances, auditions, so many things. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself as well too, because it can be draining, it can be exhausting while always on the go. And shout outs to my brother K Toops. He's in here now. He will tell me if you need to take a break, you take a break and come back and regroup, rejuvenate. Now, my next question for you is, what's the best reality you wish for, and how does it compare to your future, even though we're in the new year of what I like to call 24K? What is the best reality for you?
24K. What is the best reality that I wish for, that I'm looking forward to, and the future that I wish for? Man, if only I've been asked that question like years ago, I would definitely have a different answer than now. I would say it's it's a little challenging for me, because the reality sort of where I am now and where I'm going is more so geared towards still making all of my dreams come true within the artistry as an actor, which I'm on the journey of right now. Like DRB Studios, my company, my production company, took a large hiatus shortly after the vaccine for COVID came out. So I had to do some revamping and some what do you call it, rebranding. So that is already going in the direction with the ideas that I'm talking about now with my team, with my internal team. Um, so I hope for a reality where I start to see more artists take ownership of their own work instead of leaning heavily on like managers and agents to get them to where they want to be. It's not just me that I want to succeed. It's everybody around me. I really feel like we can't move forward if we have the crab bucket mentality. Um, when I win, everybody wins. When everybody wins,
Right.
I win. That's the hope I have, right? It's a little green and naive, but um, I strongly believe in that vision, Stevie. I strongly believe in it. I believe in it till the day I die. And that is what I fight for. So my reality is making that mission available to everybody who partners with DRB Studios. My students, I see some of my students online. Hey, Manny, how you doing, brother? Hey, Jesse. um, those have been some individuals who've worked with me before, and they could attest as well to what I'm saying. And then the future, I hope for equitable rights across the union for all artists in SAG,
Yeah.
AFTRA, IATSE, every directors guild, like every writers guild. I want fairness and equality, and for every voice to matter and to be heard, not to be judged by what you look like, by what kind of appearance you're bringing, but literally by your heart, the content of your character, and just the goodness that you bring to the craft.
Now, you've mentioned SAG. With the writer's strike being over, what was it like when you found out the news? Because how I found out was I was scrolling through the gram. I went back because I just got through with an interview. And before I went on, it was actress Valerie Petford. She posted
Yep.
about it. And then so many other people started posting. I think The View talked about it. And it was everywhere. What was it like for you finding out the news that they found an agreement? Because it sort of put a pause on
Mhm.
things for actors who were out here who were working, set designers, team workers who are working on these shows and films.
Yeah.
What was it like finding out that everything, they've reached an agreement and it is over? What was it like for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So I to kind of tell you about that part, I got to back up a little bit and tell you that I was shocked when it was, but I wasn't surprised when the strike occurred. There were actors that I was already talking with, and some actors that I work with who are like B-list celebrities now, and they've been working in the industry for a minute. And we would sit around sometimes just having coffee or tea, and they would tell me the challenges that the industry had been presenting to them for years. And so, we would just kind of like casually discuss it and say, okay, well, what do you think the solutions are? How are you navigating it? And I was pretty much, I was talking to my one of my former agents before, just leisurely, not too long ago, and I said, hey, I miss you. You're in Atlanta. I want to come, see what's going on out there, audition for work out there. And I'm in SAG AFTRA eligible. So for those that don't know, SAG AFTRA is the union for actors. And before you become or you cross the union, you can become SAG AFTRA eligible, which just means you're eligible now to join the union once you pay the $3,000 like in fee, intro fee. It's like dues. Uh, I'm still existing in that gray middle ground area where I haven't crossed over yet. And so for me, as I was auditioning for more SAG projects, I was already auditioning for non-union projects too. So even though they got put on a halt when the strike happened, I wasn't really at a loss because I'm still able to do non-union work. And that really was making the bulk of sort of like my financial or my finances and my income was getting more non-union work than, SAG work, right? And Dallas is like a large commercial market, so like my agency will send you out on a lot of auditions for commercials, and if you rack those up back to back, I mean that's like good money that you can go ahead and put in your back pocket. But for my friends who were in SAG, I'm thinking about a director friend of mine who I was on Zoom with. He was just out of work. He had to rely on his savings, and him and his partner, they had to basically look for jobs outside of our industry to make ends meet. And even I did as well. Like where I am right now is my office of where I am. And so we all kind of got together and just said, are we going to have to go back and start doing this survival train of finding other work until they reach an agreement? But I'll tell you what, Stevie, I think this shifted a lot of mindsets, and it became necessary to sort of pull this veil back on the industry. And a lot more of my friends are now like, I'm writing my own work, I'm creating my own work, and instead of relying on others or relying on like a production company or a big network.
Hey, just let you know they got a
Sorry,
vacancy here, so they're about to go ahead and put this boiler in here in a minute.
sorry, that was my walkie-talkie.
You're good. And we
uh,
got some questions also as well too. Shout outs to Don Bond, who's the creator of Boy Drama. I love me some Boy Drama. Make sure you guys go and check him out. And he produces, he does photography, he does all of that. So also Chef Amber, my boo, hi my love. She says, so if I want to do my own cooking show on Food Network, I would have to go through SAG.
Yeah, so if you and I recommend for the person who had this question too, if you want to do your own show, I'm not sure what that. I'm not versed enough in that world to know if
Yeah.
you want to have your own network. If you need to go through SAG in order to have your own cooking network or show, what I do know is that there is for one of my friends who's here in Dallas who has his own network in partnership with Tubi, Peacock, and I think Lifetime. He's working with now. There's just a sitting down of contracts. He isn't involved in SAG. Like he's a SAG eligible actor, but he's not in the union. But because he has his own business and his own company, and I believe it's a limited LLC, that limited LLC can then argue for whatever he's wanting to do with that contract. And when he signs, his company is signing, like his own business that he started is signing that. And then he worked out all the rights, about royalties and percentages and what that particular network would receive. So I do know you can create your own business and go that route, but I'm not sure if the company has to be like a part of a union or anything like that.
Now, when I introduced you, I said you are the man of multiple facets. You are an actor, you are a model, you are arts educator, and you are a CEO of your own company, DRB Studios. So how do you find that balance of wearing all of these hats? Because modeling, you're always in high demand as well too, doing photo shoots, commercials, advertising. What is it like for you, and how do you find that balance? Because I know it's a lot.
Yeah, time management. Time management. I always tell people, especially the younger generation, who will ask me like, "How do you find time to do this or do that?" Like Gen Z, and I say, "How much time do you spend on TikTok? How much time do you spend on Instagram? How much time do you spend on Facebook?" And so people, I think we're getting away from the language of like, I don't have time to do things when I'm asked of certain things. You make
Mhm.
time. You make time for people you hang out with. You make time for the interests and hobbies you have. You make time to be lazy. You make time to procrastinate. So you make time to also be successful. And I have a dream goal. And I'm not going to be here forever on this planet. Nobody's promised tomorrow. Like I'm talking with you now, Stevie, but something could happen to me tomorrow. You know what I mean? God forbid. So I block out time, like maybe 2 hours. I may work on, my company, whether that's the next client, the next project, writing, future projections. And then after that, take about an hour break. And then for the next 30 minutes, I might do, spiritual motivation and self affirmation for
I
me.
do
And so,
morning.
yeah, you have to. Look, you know what I'm talking about. But you have to break it up and then have days of rest, right? Uh, my weekends, I really love to keep to myself, and I become a total hermit and an introvert. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to deal with anybody. Don't call me. Don't message me. I need my time to rejuvenate. So I do that. And when it becomes too much, when I feel like wearing too many hats does get overwhelming, I lean on my village, man. Those times where I feel like I'm going through it alone, I really do lean on the people that love me and care about me, and they kind of help boost me back up. Also pray. I've been praying a lot. I've been sticking to my faith, and that is something for me that has carried me through when I felt like either I'm stretched too thin and I need to recalibrate and back up and look at it again, or when I feel like I'm not enough, when I'm not doing enough. So take time for you, self-care and time management. That's it.
Absolutely. And that ties, before we get to our next question, which is how do you celebrate success? Chef Amber wants to know, I'm trying to start my own business, but I'm waiting until I'm done with culinary school. So what advice or tips would you give her?
Okay, so trying to start your own business but waiting to culinary school. Have your business game plan. Have it down. Figure out everything you need to know. Every question that you have that you don't know the answer to, write it down, ask it, document it, check your network, research it online, see who in your circle can answer that question for you. And you'll have more questions that come up too. But I say that because you don't want to start your business with a certain percentage of ignorance. um, we're not going to have the answer to everything. It's impossible. We're not going to be gurus when we start. But I think there's a quote. I don't know if Jim Rohn said it or not, but there's a quote that says, "You don't have to be great to start. You just have to start, and you'll be great." Um, Once you figure that out, figure out what type of business you want to start. Do you want to go, straight into, like, do you want it to be a profit organization, nonprofit organization? You want it to be an LLC? Do you want to incorporate yourself? Are you looking to have a franchise for this business idea that you want? So really kind of zone in and then look at examples. Whatever it is you're trying to do, look at examples of who's done it and who's built it, and then watch them talk about their process of how they did it, like what they, and I don't mean the esoteric language of like, yeah, I just woke up one morning, I got a fortune cookie, he told me I was going to have a $2 million business, and then boom, it just happened next day. I
Right.
mean, listen to the practicality of the steps that people are saying about how they started it. They went online, they went to www.whatever.gov. They, put in the application for their business that they wanted. They paid a fee, $300 to get your employment ID verification. And then they went to their local, like, listen to the practical steps and then write those down for yourself and see if it matches your plan. Be I would say wait until you do finish culinary school. I think that's wise because I don't know about you, but I know me, if I was still in grad school getting my MFA and I tried to start DRB Studios at the same time, child, I wouldn't be here talking to you right now.
It'd be a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it is. And it can be super overwhelming too, unless you have a team, that you can delegate. I mean, do you at that point, but if it's just you starting out, you don't have a team like it was for me. Um, One thing at a time. Section it off. Compartmentalize. That way you're not overwhelming and then you don't make the mistake of having the imposter syndrome is what I call it. Imposter syndrome is when you get to a certain point in your journey and you're like, am I good enough? Can I do it? Maybe I'm a fraud. Maybe I don't know that much of what I'm trying to do. Maybe I should let go of my business. So I believe in your culinary business. Keep it going. Whoever you are, I believe in you. You are enough. You are intelligent. You are gorgeous. You are fabulous. You can do it. Stick to it. Take breaks when you need to. And I want to see it happen.
Yes. Now, this ties into the next question. How do you celebrate happiness and success?
Mm. So I live by joy. I say, like, if I had a superpower, my superpower is spreading joy. And that comes from my mom and the childhood that I had.
Mm.
If whatever I'm doing allows me to add on to the layer of joy that I'm already feeling or I can express, the way I celebrate that is um, I share it with those who are in my circle, like my closest circle of village that I call it, of my village people, where I will tell them the good news and we'll go out and we'll have a day where I hang out with that person, or and I won't necessarily share like all of maybe what the material part of the success is. I'll just say, hey, I'm feeling great. This is what happened to me this week, or this is what happened to me today. Let's go watch a movie, or let's go take a small road trip, or let's go to like a famous ice cream museum or something, just something that adds another layer on top of that joy. And it's reaffirming for me, like, okay, I'm celebrating me, I'm celebrating my existence. And whether I continue to get these things and be successful or not, the celebration of the success and the end result of how I feel is what's most important. So that's how I celebrate for me. Everybody's got their different story, but that's mine.
Now, Dejanay Ray, she wants to know what inspired you to become an actor?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, Miss Ray. Um, Funny. So I didn't always want to be an actor when I started off. I wanted to be a veterinarian. My mom used to call me Dr. Doolittle. I had a really soft spot for animals, and I would talk to animals. Actually, my first pet was a green amoeba lizard, because she was allergic to cats and dogs. So I think I was in the senior year of my high school, and I had to pick up a dead bunny rabbit from our front yard, and I just couldn't. I couldn't touch it. I remember just breaking down in tears. I was crying right there in the front yard. Neighbors were wondering what's wrong. And I think right then and there, I projected into the future and thought, there's no way I could tell a family that their animal or their pet or their family member didn't make
Yeah.
it out of surgery. Fast forward, so I was about to graduate. I'm helping out at the drama club. I was like cleaning up, I think, in the cafeteria, and the main actor in Romeo and Juliet had quit. And so the main actor quit, and the director was like, "Oh, who are we gonna, find? We need, we're about to open soon, and we've got all these lines, and we don't have a Romeo." And so I just politely walked up to him. I said, "Hey, I'd like to give it a shot." And he was like, "Impossible! You have, so many lines you have to do, and this and that." And yeah. He gave me the script. He said, "Hey, man, if you can come back and show me something, memorize 4 pages." I ended up memorizing the entire script, all my lines in one night. I was a little shaky, but I was able to get through the performance and opening night. I think with like minimal mistakes. So after that, I remember, I kid you not, Stevie. I got in a costume. I remember the opening of the show when the curtains opened, and then I remember the end when it was just audience members clapping, and then my other castmates were around me, and I thought, what is this exhilarating feeling that I'm
So,
experiencing?
yeah.
What is that? Like, I'm sure you felt it in your own craft too. Like, it's just, you get that unspoken spiritual, I don't know, existential moment. And I just wanted more, that I latched on. I went to my family. I said, forget being a veterinarian. I'm going to be an actor. And they already kind of knew the industry a little bit. They said, okay, in order to be an actor, you're going to go to college and get your degree. So whenever you're not acting, you can teach it as a professor in a college or as a teacher in high school. And then that can help float you the rest of the way. So, yeah, I quickly went into acting initially because of that feeling, Miss Ray. But then I met my second mentor. My first mentor is Donald Lovett, who's in Hinesville, Georgia, who's still there. My second mentor is Freddie Hendricks, who's in Atlanta, Georgia, who is the owner of PAC. Many of you who might be on here might know him. I remember I met Freddie at Clark Atlanta University, and to this day I call him my theater dad. And he transformed the reason why I wanted to stay becoming an actor. I mean, he elevated it to like the heavens, man. I remember he asked me, "How bad do you want this?" And I said, "Oh, I want to be an actor like everybody else." He said, "No. Do you want to eat, breathe, sleep it? Do you need this to survive, or can you do something else? If you want to do something else, go. Leave my theater. Put your stuff down. Get out of costume. Put it back up in the wardrobe room. Leave. Don't come back." And
Mm.
I remember giving him some like off the wall answer. I was like, "Man, I got this." It was kind of cocky and arrogant. And he got upset. He said, "You will not come up here and be arrogant or cocky and think you know it all and act like you own this industry. You need to leave." And I thought about it that night, and I came back and I showed him. I said, "You know what? I'm going to prove you wrong." And as I kept acting, I remember focusing on, instead of me, I wanted to tell the story of others. I wanted to be the voice of others. So that's really kind of what led me to continue on my journey as an actor. I wanted to release the pain of those characters, and in return, they help me release some of my pain and grow as a human being.
Shout outs to Jay Evans. If you guys are into Real Housewives of Potomac, if you like Bell Collective, if you like Love and Marriage Huntsville, he does a lot of coverage and celebrity interviews as well too. So shout outs to Jay Evans. He wants to know, why do you think you were able to do more here in Dallas versus Jersey?
Ooh, simple answer. Simple answer. For me and my journey, the market in Dallas was more
Mm,
open. It was more open. It was more open to seeing new talent. It was more open to less clickiness or less, like click groups. And the agency, for example, that I auditioned for about 3 different agents, and the one that I settled on, which I'm still with now, running about 3 years now, the Klutz agency here in Dallas. Um, the minute I walked in there, it was more of a conversation. And when I sat down, he really wanted to get to know me, and he responded to my energy and who I am and what I was bringing to the table. And I was doing the same with him. It was more like, oh my gosh, this makes sense. Yes. Now I still, came in and I was ready for the audition. I was still very prepared and willing to be flexible with whatever he threw at me. But it was the first time that I feel like somebody saw me for me.
mm.
And I don't know about y'all, but if you've ever been in spaces where somebody sees you instead of you trying to prove yourself to somebody, whew, man, that makes all the difference. So once I hit that, and I had a couple of other agents actually before him, and I was booking and getting things too. But it was that moment when I found him that shifted. He started putting me in front of people that had the same mindset as him. So he would, put me in front of these directors and casting directors and producers, where as soon as I audition, they're like, "Great, I can see your passion in the character. I just want you to tweak it more like this and do it more like this," and then boom. And it just happened through hard work, and I kept showing up and putting me in everything that I'm doing, right? Put your love into it, man. Put your passion into it. Really study the character like nobody else. Research it. The more you know, the better you'll be. People say, oh, it's not hard work, it's luck that gets you through the door. And I say it's what you know. It's who you know that gets you through the door, but it's what you know that keeps you there. It's not all about the connections, right? It's really just leading with your passion. So if you could lead with your passion and have hard work to back it up, I promise you there's a piece of the pie for everybody. Somewhere in the industry, you're going to find your mark.
What was the last thing that made you smile?
Waking up today.
Mm.
Waking up today. Oh no, I'll say, you know what? No, no. That was the first. I say the last thing was getting on this Instagram with Miss Stevie. I don't look. I just want to put in a blurb real quick before I continue answering that. Stevie, thank you for what you're doing. You've created a channel where you are allowing inspiring artists and celebrities. I saw your interview with Vanessa Williams, the Vanessa Williams, and I've been checking out what Stevie's been doing, y'all. I just want to tell you thank you, because you are giving artists of color and people of diversity a chance to speak their mind and their voice, and you're giving us a platform. So if nobody's told you, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so, so much. I am humbled by this today in our time. But yeah, getting on this live was the thing that made me smile the last. Yeah.
If you could put something on a billboard, something motivational, what would it be? If you could put something on a billboard next week.
Take it easy. Breathe. You are more than your circumstances.
That's it.
That's it.
And Jay Evans says, what is your dream role?
The $1 million question. My dream role. So a couple of my inner circle people who are on the call right now know this. My dream role is to play like the most ultimate, psychologically twisted, intellectual villain
Mm.
the world has ever seen. I mean, like from James Spader Blacklist to Heath Ledger's Joker. You know, I want to play the villain that's like like Houdini, you know? I'm so calculated and like a genius, but you can't, like, nobody can make sense of me at all. Um, that's my dream role. And then the actor I would love, or actors I would love to share the screen with, I would actually love to be directed in a project by Guillermo del Toro. He's a Mexican American producer, writer, filmmaker. He did a show called The Strain on Netflix for those of you that like FX and special effects makeup stuff. He also did Pan's Labyrinth, which is a very old film. So I would love to be directed by him, and then to share the screen, of course, I would love to share the screen with Denzel Washington,
Mm.
and the late Robin Williams is who my other dream role was. So to play a villain, I'm not that way in real life. I'm really sweet and humble, but I want to play a villain.
Step outside of the comfort zone of what people are used to seeing you portray as. You're portraying different characters, and you're the complete opposite.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Outside, yeah. People I think are most the things that they've seen. They're most uh, uh, not antiquated, but they're most recognizable. My most recognizable roles are like the good guy roles, the father, the good boyfriend, the voice of reason, wisdom, which is, you know, all the things that I am. But actually, when I first started out, for those of you that don't know, I used to get typecast a lot. I got stereotypecasted a lot as like the woman beater, the pimp, the person who was, you know, doing things wrong, like I was a drug dealer. I mean, it was just all these types of things. And so I think it took me like really learning Shakespeare and memorizing some Moliere and some Ibsen when I got to college, and doing classical work that made directors shift. And they said, oh my gosh, he knows a little bit of classical language. Oh my gosh. Like, you know, and I broke that mold. But yeah, those are the roles that I'm used to now, are like the good guy roles or the nerdy guy next door. Yeah, which I love, you know, because that's me. Command. Yes. 1 second.
Fashion dolls, do we have any more questions for myself or Darius before we get into our game segment? I'm having such a great time, and I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying the interview as well too. It's so informative, and I hope you guys are also taking in bits and pieces of information that can be helpful to you if you are looking to get into the world of acting. A lot of people think that, you know, I can just go on screen and I can become an actor. These are tips that can help you along the way to succeed and excel in your career as well too, as an up and coming actress. And there's so many courses, so many classes, so many workshops and things. Ever since the pandemic first hit, a lot of things were virtually, but versus going in person is a complete different experience. You look fabulous, Miss Stevie. Love the nails. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I've been having such a great time lately. So I'm glad you guys have been enjoying the new looks, the whole new everything. I'm glad you guys have been enjoying it. I told you this season I wanted to do something a little bit more elevated and out of the box. So thank you all so much for loving it. And special thanks to my makeup artist, Melanie, for making sure that we are right every episode as well, too. So shout outs to her. But let's get back into Darius right now. We are about to get into our games here in the Dollhouse Fashion Dolls. All right. So we do something here called the Rapid Five. And the Rapid Five is where my guests have to tell me five things they can't live without. It can be their favorite food, it can be their favorite TV show, their weakness, guilty pleasure, whatever they like. And then we're going to do something called Turn the Tables. So for my new viewers out there that don't know a whole lot about me, Stevie, you get to know a little bit about me through Darius's question. So my guests get to ask me questions and a segment I like to call Turn Those Tables. All right. So we are going to start off with the rapid five. Darius has to tell me five things he can't live without. What are five things that Darius can't live without?
That I can't live without?
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. Number one, this is going to sound weird. Not in order, but I can't live without cows. I need the animal, like cows, to exist. I love cows so much. I've got like cow pins, cow like keychains, cow pillowcases, cow costumes. So that's the first thing. Um, Number two, video games. Grew up on them. Love video games. Anything from PC to console. Number three, ice cream. That is my kryptonite. My favorite one being gelato. Number four, love. I can't live without love. If we could talk about arbitrary things. And then number five, the Lord. Can't live
Always.
without Jesus, man. Yeah, those are my top five. And love,
All right, fashion goals.
love
Go
being my
ahead.
family.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Family. Yes, that's key important. Every time you get up, you give God thanks every morning. So family and God first in everything that you know. My mom, she even told me that with starting this platform, make sure that you put God first and don't forget your family and the ones who dare supporting you. So
Yes.
always thank God every day. All right. So I'm a little nervous for this next segment because you guys get to see a more transparent side of me. I don't know what Darius is going to ask me. Now, in this segment, my guests get to ask me questions related to fashion, goals, life, family, passions, dreams, whatever they want to know about me, they can find out. So I'm going to pass it on down to Darius because it is time to turn those tables, my dear. Let's get right into it.
Okay. Okay. So, I am always interested whenever I talk to any human soul, any person that's an artist or anybody. What has been the hardest challenge that you have faced in your life on a spiritual, mental level in 2023? And then what was your greatest reward that you also got in the year of 2023?
My my biggest challenge from the year 2023. Wow. I try not to get emotional talking about this. I would say being black, being a woman, being told
Yeah.
no, you're not what we're looking for,
Yeah.
or not right now.
Yeah.
That made me even stronger. And I say it made me stronger because it made me carve my own path for other black women who have been told, no, you're not what we're looking for. You're
Mhm.
you're not what the beauty standards of the norm are, because we know how the industry is. So I have to say that being gaslit, being disregarded. I've had guests from the previous season not even show up to interviews. So that's just an inside scoop of what the journalist, the talk show host, the influencer, we go through behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are
Wow.
some of the things that I've encountered and experienced, but I still kept going. I'm like, one monkey doesn't stop the show, you keep going. You don't let that person stop you from
Mm-hmm.
what you need. The show must go on. And I've always had a backup plan, even if the guests didn't show up.
Yeah.
Thankful for Jay Evans and K Tubes. They would be the ones reassuring me, like, you got this. Don't worry about them. It wasn't meant to be. That interview was not meant to be. And I would kind of get discouraged. So that is one thing that has kind of been an obstacle for me in 2023 is feeling discouraged and not sure of myself. But it's great to have people, like you said in the beginning, mid part of our interview. It's great to have people who are there to reassure you. And I see Island Yankee too, always reassuring me, like, you don't need them, girl. Just keep going. You're
Yeah.
good. You know, so that's been a challenge, but there's always been a beautiful outcome because I want to say the beginning of 2023, that's when I got the position to write at Original UK Magazine. And I want to thank Mickey Solar for that. For choosing me as one of the fashion writers for her publication that's based in London. And I love fashion.
Mm.
I love to write, so it goes both hand in hand.
Yeah.
And we've already published like 5 articles so far.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. That was the blessing in disguise right there. From being told no to hosting this platform to being able to write for a magazine, a publication, because I've always dreamt of going to New York Fashion Week, always dreamt of going to London Fashion Week, always dreamt of going to Paris Fashion Week. And to be able to write for a publication that is international, that people all over the world are seeing because they are looking at the magazine, is just
Yeah.
groundbreaking. And for her to choose a woman of color. But what I love is that the team is so diverse and everyone comes from a different background, a different walk of life. And they're actors, they're into culinary arts, they're into fashion, they're into giving people health advice. So that's what I love about this publication. It's not just a one trick pony, but you get to see everything in this magazine. So she did an outstanding job. Thank you, Mick.
Wonderful. Oh, I love it. I love to hear that. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Stevie. Wonderful.
Yes.
Oh man. So wait, do I get to ask more questions or is
As
that
many as you want. Manuel Campos is like, let's go. Yes.
yes,
That's right, Mr. You got it. Yes.
yes. Manny is one of my close friends. He's my brother. He's my mentee, man. I love you, Manny. I'm glad you could stop by, brother. Um, okay, so kind of like a question you asked me,
Yeah.
and then unfortunately, I do have to go. My time is a little bit short. On to that next thing, so I'll make my last question short. What are you looking forward to in 2024? Like, what's on Stevie's vision board, and what are you heading towards?
I am heading towards, I've touched doing this platform, this talk show. Now I want to tap into the beauty world. So my goal is to do makeup, is to do fragrance. That's what I'm manifesting, and that's something that I literally put on my beauty board, on my, I was about to say beauty board, vision board, and I'm looking at it right now, and I said, going into this year, I want to shine. So that's why I went with everything purple. The previous season, it was very monochromatic. This year, I said, this is my season to shine.
Yeah.
So I went with purple for a reason because it represents royalty. And we are all royalty. It's within ourselves. It's in our DNA. We get up every morning and we feel grand. We feel good about ourselves. We feel confident. And it goes back to what you were saying about manifestation and prayer. Every morning I get up, I say a prayer and I do my morning manifestation and aspirations that keep me going every day. So shine. That is something that I want to do. I would love to do cosmetics. I would love to do a fragrance, more fashion, of course. I would like to design. So those are things that I'm manifesting for in the future, other than just hosting Style by Steve.
Nice. Nice. Ah, I love it. Well, Stevie, I want to let you know I'm going to keep you in my prayers and my good juju book, as I call it, for all of like the manifestation that I do with all of my artist friends. I hope we can continue our conversation and now our network with one another. I would love to come back on the show years later, or even down the road
Yeah,
after one of the things that maybe my company is going to work on, in the future. And I love this. I love this. Thank you.
you are so welcome. Now, before we let Darius go, Fashion Dolls, I'm going to give you the final thought of the day, which comes from Lupita and Wango. She says, I discovered that joy is not negation of pain, but rather acknowledging the presence of pain and feeling happiness in spite of it. You go through all of the dark times in order to get through the beautiful times, meaning that you have to go through the ugly in order to get to the beautiful. And it's going to be difficult. It's difficult for all of us, but the key trick is to keep going, keep persevering, and keep shining. Shine is the word of the day, and that is something that I put on my vision board. Definition is something that I put on my vision board as well too, because we all are defining ourselves. We all are carving our own paths and our own lanes. And that is the final thought of the day, Fashion Dolls. I love you all. So, Darius, let everyone know where they can have you. And I would love to have you back on in the springtime. I had such an amazing time.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. For anybody who wants to stay connected, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is DRB Studios with an underscore. And then Facebook, you could just find my name, Darius Booker. Same, Stevie, this was wonderful. The feeling is mutual. And I know we will be talking very soon in the future.
Absolutely. Fashion Dolls. Joining me tomorrow, we have Ish Brown. He's going to be joining me. So make sure you guys tune in for that. And I look forward to chatting with you again in the future. This will not be the last you will see of Darius because I'm going to bring him back to the dollhouse here. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. And you can watch the replay here on the gram and subscribe to Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube if you have not, to check out the previous season as well as some of the most recent interviews for this year, 24K. And I love you all. And you guys be safe. Take care, everyone.
See you later.